Ken Rosenthal because the Giants just fleeced the Red Sox for, I don't even know, Ken, I'm losing my professionalism. Why did the Red Sox do this?
Lost it.
Well, Kevin, first of all, I wore black for you.
Thank you.
Kind of a dedication to your soul right now. They did this because they felt that Devers wasn't living up to his deal, wasn't doing things off the field, obviously wouldn't play first base. That was an issue, and they can say all that, but to me, this all began when they did not keep him apprised of what was going on with Alex Bregman in the offseason. All they had to do was say, Rafi, listen, we might sign Bregman. You had asked us to improve the club, and if we sign Bregman, we are going to want you to either DH, maybe play some first base. Tristan Casas at that time was healthy. And that is when things started to go awry. And then obviously when Casas got hurt in early May, they asked him to play first after he already had agreed to become a DH and had been a great DH and has been a great DH for the Red Sox this season. And that seemed to be the breaking point where he said, I'm not doing this. He kind of criticized the general manager or the chief baseball officer, Craig Breslow. And then yesterday, they found the team to take all of Devers' remaining $255 million. They didn't get much in return in the estimation of a lot of people, but just getting rid of the contract enables them to do other things. We'll see what they do because they just traded one of the top 10 to 15 hitters in the game.
So that's kind of where I want to stay because in reading some of the analysis of this, Ken, people have said, well, that contract is viewed as potentially underwater, 7 years, $255 left. And I understand that people are worried, understandably, about years 8, 9, and 10 of that. But right now, this moment, I think his production makes him a bargain. Around, less than $30 million a year for one of the top 10 to 15 hitters in the game, even as a DH in modern baseball, is a good deal. So it feels to a team that preemptively, coming off a great series, by the way, when they're in a playoff race, preemptively trades their best offensive player because in 2029 it might be an albatross. In baseball, there's a name for those teams, and they're small market. And I root for a small market team, Kansas City Royals. Wilds makes fun of me all the time. Says you get tickets for $6. $4. $4. $4 and why are the Red Sox? Maybe I'm misvaluating it. If I'm not, why are the Red Sox operating like a small market team?
First of all, Nick, he's 28 years old. And yes, he's signed for a number of years, but you make a good point about the contract because yes, it is likely to age poorly. These things generally do. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just got $500 million. Yes. Soto, of course, got $765 million. So the deal might not look as onerous as it did maybe the day that it was signed. Why are the Red Sox doing this? It's not necessarily a move because they're cheap. It seems to me a move because he ticked off their ownership and ticked off the chief baseball officer and basically didn't go according to their own program. Didn't move to first base when they asked him to, and there were other things off the field that have come out just as far as leadership, that kind of thing, media availability. Well, he was never a problem with the media until all this started. I've covered him his whole career. He's been a friendly, sweet guy, and they turned him into something short of Carl Everett, but not quite what he should have been, because this is not a bad guy. And yes, he might have made some mistakes here. He did come off looking selfish, no doubt about it. And I did an interview with David Ortiz this morning, wrote about it for The Athletic, in which Ortiz said, when you get paid, you've got to do what they say. And there's some merit to that. I get it. But this was mishandled, as I mentioned before, from the start.
So, Ken, how much ire should Red Sox fans have towards the front office? So, like, an example, and you touched on it earlier. One of my first jobs, I went in and met with the boss. And the boss was like, hey, no surprises. If anything goes wrong, tell me about it. And that's the way we're going to operate. And it felt like in spring training when they're like, hey, they said that you're off a third. And he's like, no, third base is my position. And then hey, you're going to play first? They told me to put my glove away. And hey, Bregman's hurt now. You're going to go back to third? It felt mismanaged. And there's ire at Devers when I'm kind of mad at the organization. Is that fair that I'm sending a lot of my frustrations at the organization rather than the player?
In my view, it is fair, Kevin. And it's fair because of what I said before and what you just mentioned, that they kind of started this by failing to communicate properly with him. I know he's getting paid all this money. We all understand that. But if you've invested all this money in a player, why wouldn't you keep the player abreast of what you're doing when it might affect that player? That's the whole point. And Red Sox fans are upset because there is a pattern here. A pattern under John Henry, who admittedly has won 4 World Series as owner, but it goes back to Francona even before. You go back to Garciaparra if you want. Garciaparra, Francona, John Lester, Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, which worked out okay for the Red Sox, and now Devers. They have a history of alienating people, treating people badly on the way out, having these kinds of acrimonious relationships fall apart. And that's on them.
Let's trade Roman Anthony while we're at it.
You're trading a really good player. And again, are you a better team right now because of it? You're absolutely not a better team.
Ken, this has been a horrible interview.
I want to go to a brighter spot for Wilds. The guy I call the GOAT, the best of all time, Shohei Ohtani, making his pitching debut after almost 2 years off the mound tonight against the Padres. There's so many angles to hit on this, but just share with me your thoughts on this. Like, is there any thinking that, well, we'd really love him just to be a hitter, or, you know what I mean? Just share with me what kind of the Dodgers thinking is, your thinking, and maybe around the league.
Chris, there are people who believe he'd be better off doing one or the other. That's not what he wants to do. He came to the United States with the idea of doing both. He's been rather successful doing both, and his dream, from what I understand, is to do this in the postseason, to pitch in the postseason and to hit in the postseason. Last year, of course, he only hit. He was coming off the elbow surgery, and now he's coming back at a little bit earlier point than most of us expected, than the Dodgers were saying was going to happen. They kept saying around the All-Star break, and here's Ohtani ready to go tonight. It's only going to be 1 inning. They're going to build him up as he continues to hit. It's such a tricky thing what he does. It's such an incredible thing what he does. And keep in mind, too, this is an advantage for the Dodgers because it enables them to really carry an extra pitcher. Yeah. Because Ohtani can DH the entire time that he is pitching. They get their 13 maximum pitchers. They get Ohtani too. And because of the Ohtani rule, this came into play a few years ago, he also can DH the rest of the game once he comes out as a pitcher. So it's a big move for the Dodgers just to get him back going again from a mound perspective. Because remember, they have all these pitching injuries, one after another. It plagues them every year. They have been unable to solve it. They kind of need Ohtani now to mix into the program, and that's what he's going to do.
I'll be honest with you, Ken. That was a good interview, although it hurt my heart. But thank you for joining us. See more of Ken this Saturday, Mets-Phillies. Ken, thank you very much. We'll see you on Saturday.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.